Guys, I did it again. I accidentally bought a house. Hi, welcome back to another Coffee with Coleman, where we love to discuss Washington, D.C., business, real estate, all that good stuff. My name is John Coleman. I'm a real estate agent here in Washington, D.C. with the Jason Martin Group. I need your moral support at this point, and the best way to do that is just by clicking the like button. Let me know you're there. You're with me. We're going to get through this together. And if you want to stay up to date on stuff DC and real estate, then hit the subscribe button, because then you'll get alerted when I release new videos. Man, that was a whirlwind of a weekend. I did not really think I was going to buy a house this weekend, but hey, there you go. And you think that since I've helped hundreds of people do this before, I'd be calm, cool, collected? Not the case. Not the case whatsoever. I was really all over the map, changing my mind every 5 seconds. And still, in this very moment, I am extremely anxious about the whole ordeal. And I was describing this to a friend this past weekend. He goes, Coleman, what an amazing opportunity for people to hear from your perspective, because you do this all the time, and your experience and what you're feeling is still so relevant and rational. Like, why don't you walk through people what you're feeling when you're going through this process? So I said, hey, I need to record a Coffee with Coleman video anyway, so there you go. So here are some real thoughts with where we've landed with everything. And I think transparency is key. I'm happy to share an attempt to maybe help you not feel so alone if you're watching this and kind of going through those mental struggles of being under contract and working your way through it and wondering if you're doing the right thing. And so here's 4 main things that I really dealt with when I went through this process with my wife. So the first thing is, it was the first day on the market. So what did I do? I gave him a lowball offer. Why did I do this? Well, I think it was like half ego and like half sticker shock. I know the market has softened her from earlier this year. You're probably seeing news all about it. Coffee with Coleman's keeping you updated on that. I thought my terms would carry me. This immediately got rejected. And actually, the other side ended up getting a little bit annoyed at me. And I almost felt like because of that, I was playing from behind. And so I spent the next 12 hours thinking and overthinking through the scenario in my head and wondering if I had made the wrong decision. And honestly, I probably did. Like, I kind of just negotiated for the sake of negotiating. I knew the neighborhood. I knew the comps. I had zero concerns about whether it would appraise or not. I know all the neighbors that have sold. I felt like that since I was an agent, it only made sense if I could actually just get myself a deal. What my wife and I ended up doing was taking some more time to actually review the comparables in the neighborhood. Like, we put them on the big screen TV, we cast them up there. So one by one, we talked about each one. And there's 2 important things that came out of that process of actually sitting down and taking time to digest the data at hand. One is recent sales 100% justified the price. Like, not really concerned about that. But number 2 is in a potentially shifting market, I wanted to pay close attention to what else was active and what was happening, because those properties might not sell what they're listed for. And I want to make sure that the property that we get is in line with those. And at the end of the day, it took some real number crunching and soul searching to make sure that we were actually okay with the number that we ended up paying. And we finally brokered a deal and made something happen. Okay, second thing is interest rates are freaking brutal right now. And like, I'm coming from this off of like an email that I just got, and I know we're on the brink of an official recession. No one's trying to give you a deal right now. Like, those 2 and 3% interest rate, nothing. When I was priced out on some non-conforming loans, even this past week, I was looking at 4.625. Today, I locked in a 5%. And like, I was budgeting for everything else. So this was like a gut punch to us as we were trying to figure out where we're going, and we were anxious about budget. So in a market like this, you need to stay up to date day by day about where things are going, because it changes literally in an instant. Especially if you go under contract over the weekend, because the markets don't open until Monday, and then you have to figure out what's going on. In an attempt to chase the rate that we once had, we also explored 7 and 10-year options. And those are adjustable rates. So after 7 to 10 years, those interest rates can then change with the market. And that's a whole different video we can make at this point. But the reality is it just didn't really make sense. It wasn't that much of a cost savings. And we felt like the back end of it could be a whole lot worse than saving a little bit of money here. And the reality is, I have a general feeling that in the next 36 months, we'll come back and check the tape. It's here. I think that in the next 36 months we'll be able to refinance her at a lower rate that makes more sense to us, that we'll be happy with. We can afford the payment we're doing now, but if we could pay a little bit less, we would be okay with that. Lola, my dog, might be downgrading from great kibble to okay kibble for the next little bit, but she gets a little bit of a yard, so she's doing okay. But the moral of the story, keep in tune with your interest rate. The third thing is rates are up. You're nervous about price. You're talking about nervousness about the market. Why are you doing this to yourself? I felt like the last homes were kind of slam dunks in terms of value. Of course, the further I get away from them, the better they seem. If you bought a house 5, 6, 10 years ago in DC, chances are you're doing okay on it. After each time I purchased those though, I kind of went through the same moment. I think this time's a little bit deeper than those other times. Like, I was pretty certain I was buying at the top of the market, and look at us now. I'm feeling kind of anxious that the market might settle down for a little bit. And that's something that we had to weigh as a reality of the decision we were making. So that means we felt like maybe we overpaid, maybe not. So far, the market has made me look brilliant. We'll see what happens with this one. So the reality though is it comes down to there's more than just the price and the numbers that make sense to us. Because this house gives us exactly what we want. It's the exact location. It's the layout. It's everything that we needed it to be. We were considering a pretty decent renovation to our current house to make it fit where we were going, and that was gonna cost money anyways, as opposed to this house that came up that had it ready to go. So maybe it's gonna cost us a little bit more in a monthly, but we are not going to spend all that money out of pocket during a renovation to a house that additionally comes in a little bit short of not having parking and not having a really decent backyard, which are things that we initially wanted to get to. And again, Lola is going to be a big fan of this yard once we get in. So while this decision was hard and there was a lot of things to think about, it was the perfect choice for us. It's the place we want to be, which leaves us very excited. But don't get me wrong, I'm anxious as can be. Just ask my wife. And the fourth thing to consider here that I've been battling with all week, buying a house in DC when the rest of your family isn't from DC is miserable, because obviously the sale is public record. They all want to see the listings. I try to play it cute and send like messages with like, hey, we're under contract on a house. Here's some pictures, check it out. But they went and found it online anyways. And you know, bless my initial Midwest heart and all that stuff and people that live in smaller cities. It's just, it was a sticker shock for me having lived in this area each time I purchased a house. But for people that don't live in the area, they're like, are you serious? That's kind of crazy. And I know. And so that just kind of gives me this nervous energy as I'm going through it. But at the end of the day, we just ripped off the Band-Aid and everyone was super pumped. But anyone that's not from this area, from smaller areas, I'm from back in Detroit, so the prices there are a little bit different than in DC. It's a little bit of a change, and I had to get over it and just let everyone get excited for me despite what that looked like. So anyone else that now lives here, that's buying property here, but from a place with much lower prices, I feel you. It's awkward, but they're happy for you, I promise. So this is all kind of crazy, right? Like, I help hundreds of people buy homes. I've been through the process numerous times. It should be easy peasy lemon squeezy, no concerns. But it's not the case, because when it's yourself, it's a whole different experience. And actually, I think real estate agents should have to go through this every once in a while to make sure they understand what they're putting you through. So that's just me doing my homework. Maybe this will be a big business write-off. It's not really. I know government, you're watching this. It's not, I get it. I'd love to hear what your experience was like. Put your stories in the comments. Were you nervous? Were you confident? Did you go through? Share your stories. I'd love to respond to them in the comments below and hear kind of what you're going through. Because then we can all feel a whole lot less alone when we're going through this anxiety-ridden process. All right, well, that's it. Thanks again for stopping by another Coffee with Coleman. Peace.